you see me back with another video. You see the thumbnail, see the title. Man, I don't even know what to say, man. I just hope everybody in Florida's safe, man. They recover from this, but the death toll did climb in Milton, Florida, man. It hurts my heart, man. We're just gonna get right to the video. It's a nice little 20-minute video, so make sure y'all stay in tune with the video. Y'all, let's go.
In Florida, the death toll from Hurricane Milton's path of destruction currently stands at 16. More than 2 million people in Florida remain without power. Rescue teams are working as fast as they can to get trapped residents out of their flood-ravaged homes, and this already chaotic situation may only get worse because floodwaters are expected to rise tonight. CNN's Isabel Rosales is in the Tampa area, where the dangers left behind Hurricane Milton are far from over.
I feel for everybody that's been through the same thing. Really do. I never expected it to happen to me. Nobody expects it to happen to them.
When Hurricane Milton barreled out of Florida Thursday morning, Ralph and Tina Janito felt they had survived the worst of it. But late Thursday night, their daughter urgently woke them up, telling them, get out.
We left last night at 10.
I'm gonna keep it 100. Like no BS. How don't you expect it to happen to you? You live in Florida. I would never move to Florida, bro, because I would expect any type of hurricane on a daily basis. I gotta expect it. It's crazy, man. I can't live with no trailer home in Florida. No offense, I'm just saying.
10:30 with 3 foot of water outside. So my daughter says it was going to come up even higher.
Milton's torrential downpour dumped 10 to 18 inches of rain around the Tampa Bay area. And as a result, rivers and reservoirs overflowed. And the danger not yet over, as the river is forecast to crest as high as 25 feet Friday night, a major flood stage.
This area is not supposed to get this way. It's not supposed to. We're the last road, supposedly, that floods. But now it's beyond us, all the way to Lithia.
Long after the storm was gone, Ralph and Tina unexpectedly forced to evacuate, stuffing whatever they can carry into trash bags.
It'll be a long road, since everybody knows it, too.
CNN surveying the devastation firsthand by airboat with Hillsborough County's sheriff. His message crystal clear.
Please get out now. You know, we have some people here that we're rescuing that thought it would be okay. The water's
It was supposed to have been get out. Don't get out now.
So
You're
if
supposed
you're
to
on
been get out.
the fence on whether you should leave or not leave, please, let's keep everyone safe. Let's leave now.
So many people now burdened with the thought of recovery, never predicting they would need a post-storm evacuation. Florida Senator Rick Scott visiting the hard-hit area Friday to assure the community local leaders are doing everything they can to help with that recovery.
I'm here to make sure that federal resources are here. It takes you as an individual, it takes local and state and federal to work together. So I'm here to make sure that we're going to do that.
And Jake, right now you would think that I don't know, in the Everglades, on a pond somewhere, but this is a neighborhood. I mean, look at that. Look at these houses completely underwater. These are power lines. Look at this big tree limb that has broken down the power lines here. It's insane seeing this. I mean, water reaching to hip, to chest level. I've seen mailboxes with mail in it, completely underwater. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office has been out here all day, loading people onto airboats exactly like this, helping them to get out, in some cases to go back in, so that they're able to get their memories, their clothing, food, and to bring them back onto dry land. A lot of them don't know where they're going to sleep tonight. The Sheriff's Office is working to connect them with shelters until they can figure out the next steps. And of course, you heard my interview there with that couple. They were one of the lucky ones. They have flooding insurance, so they will be able to figure out the next steps, but so many other people are not under the same circumstances. I also spoke just in the past 30 minutes with a man named John who lives out here, and he really wanted to express to me how tired he is of the politicization of just the politics of everything, both sides angry at each other. He is urging Congress to act and to give supplemental funding over to FEMA, something that the director, Deanne Criswell, has been asking for, because he says they're definitely going to need this for future storms even. We are not out of hurricane season, Jake.
All right, Isabel Rosales in the Tampa area of Florida, which does not look like Tampa. Thank you so much. Hurricane Milton has come and gone, but as Isabel just noted, the floodwaters remain a major threat. Officials are anticipating more emergency rescue calls and are urging residents to get out now. And I want to bring back meteorologist Chad Myers, who we've been with all week. Chad, explain why these floodwaters are still rising.
Because the rain fell in the middle part of the state. The state is very flat, and it's going to take a long time for that foot of water that covered counties to finally get back into the ocean. Had all of this rain fallen really on the beach, it would already be in the ocean or the Gulf, but that's not how it happened. We're not seeing saltwater flooding still going up. This is freshwater flooding. This is the rainfall that we talked about all night as this storm was just raining and it would not stop. So if you put rain on top here, and you're still talking about maybe 100 feet of elevation, that has to get all the way down even toward Tampa Bay or go the other direction into the Atlantic Ocean. And so we're still seeing these rivers rise. Some of them rise. The closer you get down closer to the coast now, we're seeing that rise. In the middle, starting to see a little bit of a fall, and that's what we'd expect. But it takes a long time for this water to drain in Florida. Didn't take a long time for it to drain in North Carolina because of the topography. But we don't have topography here. We have a very flat state. So it's going to take a long time for this water to actually recede. Longer for that water to be in the homes before they can be repaired, before you can get the drywall out of the house, before the mold starts to grow here in these houses that are already wet. And it will take weeks before we can actually get into some of these. Here's some Mike's weather page video here. Boy, this water doesn't look good, does it? I mean, that is certainly, I know it's fresh water, but that doesn't look fresh. Please don't go into the water if you don't have to. Get into it only if you're getting out of it on the other side of something. Jake will have some fall, some rain, but most of it will be on the south side. We're going to be well down into South Florida. That's where the heaviest rain will be. We're not even going to get any relief in the parts of the rain belt where it was the last couple of days. And here's a look. Yep, that's Tropicana Field. Not supposed to look like that, Jake.
No, it's not. Chad Myers, thanks so much. An important reminder that those floodwaters are full of toxins and bacteria. They are not to be waded in.
I can't believe they still had Jake. Was that Jake? It wasn't Jake, was it? I might be tripping, y'all. No, it was Anderson Cooper. I can't believe they had Anderson Cooper in Florida doing covers. That is insane to me. I'm sorry. Let's go.
Unless you can avoid it.
More than 10,000 National Guardsmen are helping with recovery efforts in the aftermath of Helene and Milton. MacDill Air Force Base in the Tampa Bay area managed to dodge a bullet as that critical military base avoided disastrous flooding and damage from Milton. But the impact of these two catastrophic hurricanes in just 2 weeks is underscoring the threat of climate change as a national security issue. It just released analysis by a network of scientists at the World Weather Attribution says the data shows Hurricane Milton's rain and wind was supercharged by global warming due to fossil fuel pollution. And joining us now to discuss is Sherry Goodman. She is the Secretary General of the International Military Council on Climate and Security. She is also the author of a brand new book called Threat Multiplier: Climate, Military Leadership, and the Threat to Global Security. Sherry, thanks so much for joining us in studio. We appreciate it.
Pleasure to be with you, Brianna.
So we know that we see, I mean, you just saw Isabel's report there. The cities, these homes, these businesses are vulnerable in these coastal areas and even in the non-coastal areas like North Carolina, which really opened our eyes. The same is the case with military bases, whether it is MacDill or other ones. How is climate change impacting them?
Well, first, all your viewers should know that our military is there and ready, as you said, to help support our emergency first responders in this horrible storm. So our military is there for the American people, and that's important for everyone to know. But secondly, our military bases have also been either in or close to the eye of various storms, just the ones that just occurred. And so they also are vulnerable to the effects of climate change, the sea level rise, the warming of the oceans, the hotter temperatures. And so people had to evacuate. Airplanes have to fly off, ships steam away to get away from the storm, and military families are also affected.
Yeah, they're very much impacted, and they're thinking, obviously, what is the future going to look like? Do they need to adapt? You also, as you mentioned, yes, the military is there to help, but they've increasingly been there to help. When you look at disaster relief, you can see climate change, and you talk about this in your book, in the personnel hours of military and how it's being allocated to whether it is wildland firefighting or it is things like hurricanes. How does that affect the main mission, and what does that require from supporting the military?
Well, it means today that our military is called up 10 times more frequently to fight wildfires and respond to floods and turns the light back on and help in the rescue of hurricanes, as we've seen. So this has become part of today's modern military to be ready to respond to climate change effects here at home, and also as part of the growing demand for these services overseas, because people's lives are threatened, our allies and partners, and these storms affect us in geostrategically important regions from the Indo-Pacific now into the Arctic.
Politically, the debate over climate change is in this area of does it exist or does it not exist, which is sort of perplexing. It also extends to the use of fossil fuels by the military. This can be a sometimes controversial topic. And I think one of the most arresting points in your book has to do with the true cost, both in money, taxpayer money, and in lives when it comes to having a military that is reliant on fossil fuels, reliant on gasoline. Tell us about that.
Well, yes, the true cost of, we call it the fully burdened cost of fuel, is more like $400 a gallon rather than what we actually see at the pump. And that's because of the logistics of moving fuel to the front. And we learned that the hard way in Iraq and Afghanistan, when our military was convoying fuel to the front and then subject to deadly improvised explosive device attacks, causing fatalities to our soldiers and Marines. So now there's a move to accelerate into the energy transition, to find alternatives to those long logistics supply lines, different fuels, electrification, better batteries, and ways to reduce the loss of lives and also to save money and also to give us more military effectiveness in a new era.
Where are the obstacles when it comes maybe to policymakers or to politics, when it comes to making people understand that actually combating climate change and having stable national security, that they really go hand in hand?
Well, that's why for almost 20 years, the military has recognized climate change as a threat multiplier and has been moving forward to change its energy systems. It doesn't happen overnight. The technologies are important. The support, how we buy that is also important. And the support from Congress is indeed also important as well. But I am pleased at the progress the military is making today to move towards net zero military bases, putting microgrids at many military bases as a way to improve both our energy security and to reduce reliance in the long run on carbon fuels.
Well, Sherry, the book is great. It's called Threat Multiplier, and it's also a quick read. You're quite a good storyteller, so thank you so much for talking with us about it. It's more pertinent than ever.
Thank you, Brianna.
3 steps. 3 steps.
Where's the first step? You're right. Got it. Got it.
We're back with our national lead. You're looking at images of some heroes there, first responders. Dramatic scene like this rescue of a 91-year-old woman near Tampa, Florida today, nearly 48 hours after Hurricane Milton made landfall. The storm killed at least 16 people that we know of and left many homeless, many without power. There is flooding all over. In some areas, floodwaters are still rising. Crews have rescued more than 1,000 people as others deal with massive destruction. CNN's Brian Todd is in Fort Pierce, Florida, which was hit hard by the deadly tornadoes spawned by the storm.
As rescue efforts continue across Florida, survivors still reeling from the destruction left by powerful Hurricane Milton. In hard-hit St. Lucie County, Shane Ostrander, his wife Nicole, and their dog had to scramble into a closet when a tornado hit them near Fort Pierce on Wednesday. He describes when the twister slammed into their house.
Heard 2 bombs, boom, boom, ears ringing, insulation everywhere. It felt to me about like 10 seconds. It was probably longer.
Shane says when he opened his closet door, he realized he had lost everything.
I walked the dog this morning, and that's when it hits me. Like when I see the neighbors with terrible damage. This whole neighborhood has been devastated, and I haven't even left the street yet.
Robin Longton lives in the Spanish Lakes Country Club Village neighborhood, where at least 6 people died. She hunkered down and held on as a tornado tore off the roof of her mobile home. Robin was able to save her cats and 2 parakeets, but is still coming to grips with the loss of her home.
Devastating, scary, definitely life-changing.
Others in the same senior community could not escape. 66-year-old Alejandro Alonso's grandson tells CNN that Alejandro and his girlfriend were killed. The grandson describes Alejandro as an amazing grandfather and a motorcycle lover.
It was literally a tornado was in my house.
For those who survived, it's still surreal. This woman hid in her bathroom as a tornado tore off her roof.
It was very life-threatening. I feel like I was about to die.
Even the county sheriff's building was not spared.
As you can see here, it destroyed this building, crumpled the red iron metal, destroyed lots of our vehicles.
St. Lucie County Sheriff Keith Pearson told us the focus now is on rescues.
We're not going to stop until we're able to, rescue or recover as many people as we can.
Where's everybody at?
East of Tampa, rescuers wade through knee-high waters to evacuate people inside homes in Dover, guiding them with a rope, one by one, to safety. A 91-year-old woman carried out of floodwaters in Lithia.
Got it, we're good.
This 77-year-old rode out the hurricane in his mobile home in St. Petersburg.
For the few years that I got left, I'd like to stay here.
And others slowly picking up the pieces.
I mean, I know it's some terrible things, but I gotta start all over again. Everything I had there is no good.
Now, our CNN teams have spoken to several residents here on the east coast of Florida and on the west coast of Florida who tell us that they are really rethinking the idea of living in this state anymore because of the severity of the storms. I had 2 residents here tell me they're interested in coming back and rebuilding at their current locations, but only if they can do it with stronger building materials. And Jake, to illustrate the horribly fickle and temperamental nature of these tornadoes, take a look at the house behind me with everything pretty much gone. And over here to my left, to your right, look at that. About 50 feet away, you see some damage to the roof, but otherwise, that house pretty much structurally sound. 50 feet is the difference between having a house and no house. Jake?
Yeah, Ryan Todd, thank you so much. And if you want to help the victims of Hurricane Milton and Helene, CNN has a list of organizations on the ground in Florida. You can find that at cnn.com/impact, cnn.com/impact.
To back catastrophes, Milton and Helene, they're putting a financial strain on FEMA and also the Small Business Administration, which provides low-interest loans to disaster survivors, not just small businesses. The situation is so dire that the SBA could soon run out of money for hurricane victims. We're joined now by Isabel Casillas Guzman. She is the administrator for the Small Business Administration. Thank you so much, Administrator. Your letter to Congress, obtained by the Washington Post, says SBA funding is going to run out next week. Can you put an exact date on that for us?
Well, yes, and that's right. And as you said, SBA steps in to help support communities so that they can rebuild, so that we can sustain local economies. And as we've advised Congress, we are running out of funds. It's a matter of days that we will be depleted of resources to be able to fund folks to get back into their homes as quickly as possible. And of course, right now, as we saw from the stories, these are life-saving measures that are being taken right now. This is still response, but as we move to recover quickly and rebuild communities, SBA is vital that we get on the ground quickly.
And as of now, Congress is not set to come back until after the election, which, let's just be clear, you will run out of money long before then, right?
Yes, we will run out of money in days. As President Biden has said, we are on the edge of running out of money. This is a situation that we need to have Congress act immediately to be able to replenish these dollars so that we can get checks to folks who are in need.
Do you have an exact day? Can you give us an idea?
It's a matter of days at this point. We're supporting 36 disasters across the country. Of course, the most intense under Helene, and specifically, of course, as this disaster has just ramped up over the last couple of weeks. But clearly, we are putting out millions, receiving tens of thousands of applications on Helene alone, and need to be able to support these folks who have been impacted. And as you've heard, people who have never witnessed anything like this. And we come in to fill gaps in insurance and get people money, not only for their homes, but renters as well, personal belongings, to get people situated as quickly as possible.
Yeah, nonprofits as well as small businesses. And Congress, to be clear, went on recess during hurricane season without giving SBA more funds. Did SBA ask Congress to give it more funds before it went on recess?
Yes, and we have been advising for months that SBA needed to replenish its disaster program at the SBA so that we could continue to carry through hurricane season. And of course, with the devastation of Helene across those 6 states and now Milton, SBA's resources are going to be tapped to be able to help these communities rebuild.
Okay, so you have a matter of days here. As we mentioned, all of the things that SBA provides, these low interest loans to homeowners, renters, small business owners, nonprofits. What happens if SBA does run out? If there is this gap, if you can process new applications, but you can't write checks, if there ends up being a backlog of applications, what are then going to be the effects felt on the ground of people who really need these loans?
And as I said, we're about economic stabilization at the SBA. These funds are critical to help not only businesses, but as you said, we want their employees, their customers to stabilize again so that communities can build back, so that they can come back after these disasters. And clearly these funds are vital. Multiple studies have demonstrated that the SBA's early relief in communities helps prevent economic challenges into the future, from bankruptcies, business closures, et cetera. And so what will happen if we run out of dollars is that SBA will, of course, continue to be on the ground. We have centers across the nation helping disaster survivors process their loans, as well as get through that initial underwriting process. But we will have to hold. We will not be able to create offers and write checks for anybody new in the system. And with tens of thousands of applications already in processing right now, clearly we're not going to be able to fund the people who have applied or those who will apply. But I will encourage everybody to continue to apply so that you're ready to go. We would be able to turn it back on and come to sba.gov or give us a call and make sure that you can connect to these resources quickly.
Yeah, you will be processing the applications, just not making offers and writing those checks, as you say, and that's very important that people know that. Administrator Isabel Casillas Guzman, thank you so much for your time, as clearly you were sounding the alarm here. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
An 83-year-old Florida man found dead today raises CNN's estimate of the death toll from Hurricane Milton to 17. Randy Kay has more now on the destruction and recovery efforts across the state tonight.
The storm surge was enough to make us concerned, and we didn't know where it was going to land.
Pastor Charlie Garrett's family has lived on Siesta Key, where Hurricane Milton made landfall, since 1948. He and his wife Hideki share this property with his father, who lives in the front cottage. All of them evacuated for Hurricane Milton, along with their 8 dogs.
We've lost trees all the way back on the property on the side. They're all down. And then all of a sudden, the wind started coming from the other direction. And it was as bad as I've ever been in. This was as horrific as anything.
Charlie says the house flooded with about 3 feet of water, just like it had a couple of weeks ago during Hurricane Helene. They didn't evacuate then.
People say, well, are they going to run or are they going to rebuild? Which one is it? Which one is it for you? You're going to run or rebuild?
No, we're staying. Yeah, we've been here all these years, and I'm going nowhere. Dad has had enough, and he's moving off the island. It's just not worth saving the house, probably.
Why do you stay?
Helene went all the way up to Ohio, and it destroyed entire towns. Where are you going to go, right? I mean, this is where I grew up. There's nowhere safe on this planet. Wherever you go, there's something.
He's working round the clock to...
I agree. There's nowhere safe, but this place is safer than Florida. I'm not going to lie to you.
clean up his yard.
Sofas, there's all kinds of stuff. Garbage cans, all these garbage cans I'm using, they all came from somewhere else. They're not mine. Everything I had during Helene is out in the bay. It's all gone.
About 170 miles away from Siesta Key in Palm Beach Gardens on the east coast of Florida, more destruction. An EF3 tornado, packing winds of 140 miles per hour, chewed through this community as Milton approached Florida. It is the strongest tornado from a tropical system in Florida in more than half a century.
This house was actually the first home that was completed in this community, and now it's condemned. Here's the sign marked unsafe. They lost their roof. These are just some of the tiles here on the ground right on their driveway. They lost their windows. They lost their front doors. And now there is literally a hole in their house. You can see right through it.
We was in the center of the house, like they always train to do. Center of the house, multiple walls around us, and we was underneath the stairs.
Will you rebuild?
Yes.
You'll stay put?
Yes, ma'am.
Down the street, this woman was huddled in a closet under her stairwell with her family and a friend who evacuated from Sarasota, thinking they'd be safe here. That's when she got a terrifying text from a neighbor.
Someone says, "Oh my God, I see it." And I'm like, "You see it?" And they said, "Yes, it's coming from Publix and it's coming right for us." We definitely hear it coming through and the shaking. And then we also felt the wind. And when we felt the wind, you know, we knew we were compromised.
Her home is badly damaged, but not destroyed.
Do you consider moving, or are you going to rebuild?
Well, we will rebuild.
Back in Siesta Key, Charlie is leaning into his faith while keeping an eye on Mother Nature.
As long as I have that faith that Christ came out of the grave, nothing can harm me.
You feel like God would keep you safe here?
No. If I stayed here and I died, it would have been my fault. It's a world of disaster. And so we make choices and those things happen.
And John, the communities really are coming together. The woman we met who survived that tornado, she said when they all came outside, all of her neighbors, she described it as sort of apocalyptic. She said that when they saw each other, they were all like, "What can we do to help? Can we babysit? Can we help board up a window?" And it was the same thing for Pastor Charlie in Siesta Key. He said that all of his neighbors came together to help right away, and not just his neighbors, John. He said church members from Texas, Ohio, and as far away as Germany came to help him. John?
Resilience is remarkable. Randy Kay, thank you so much. Fascinating.
They are having a nice little 25-minute and 29-second video of the death toll and just the crazy hurricane and Hurricane Milton, man. Whoever make these names is insane for these hurricanes, but it's crazy because ain't no telling when another hurricane will come. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no, oh, we got a hurricane, we gotta wait 20 more years. Nah, we just had Hurricane Helene, got Hurricane Milton now. You don't, God forbid, you don't know what's gonna happen next, man, and what state or whatever, man, because it's a crazy world we live in, man. But I ain't gonna say nothing else, man. We got more and more videos. Do make sure you like, comment, subscribe on the channel. Yeah, here come my cat. I gotta get out of here, love. I love y'all. Peace and love. Can you stop meowing? Peace and love, y'all. We out.